Some of the key themes at this year's Cannes Lions Festival have included virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and the ways that new technology are revolutionising the media and marketing industries. And I'm absolutely delighted to say that I'm joined by two experts in this field. So Kevin Kelly, who is the technology maverick, the co-founder of Wired, I believe, and author on all of these subjects, and Mark Holden, the worldwide head of strategy for PhD. Thank you both for joining M&M today.
It's really great to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So I believe you've just come off stage, you've just been talking in the Palais about these very subjects. How did the session go? Could you give our audience a little bit of a sort of précis of what you talked about?
So I talked a little bit about some of the forces that are coming, that are already here and getting larger. And one of them is making things smarter, sometimes making them very smart, but making them smarter in a different way than humans are smart. So that's the chief value of the AIs, is that they think differently than us, and sometimes better than us in particular narrow categories. And that's very, very useful. And the second thing that I emphasize is that you can purchase this as a commodity, as a utility. There'll be access to almost everybody. And then we're going to take something and add AI to it, and that's going to be the kind of recurring theme for the next 10 to 20 years.
I mean, as a festival that's grown up celebrating the talent and creativity of individuals,
Right.
is that quite a controversial message? What did you sense the response was in the audience?
I think people are really open to it because we've been hearing a lot about AI, and I think there's a tendency to think of it as, in a cinematic Hollywood sense, of a being that's like a human, but maybe even superhuman, that's then going to kill us. And I think that we need to get that idea out of our heads, that it's a little bit more boring in a certain sense, and a little bit more fundamental, and therefore a little bit more transformative than just having a competitor. These are actually tools that we will use.
Mark, I know that from a PhD perspective, AI has been a huge focus for you with your Sentience program, and you've been thinking about this a lot. You know, do you think a year on from when you first started discussing this, the industry's starting to get its head around it as a concept?
Implication in that is that we were ahead of the curve, so thanks for that. We see it all around us now. It's often hard to know whether we're seeing it just because we've written about it, and you tend to notice stuff because you're now interested in it. But my instinct is it is starting to emerge, and it will emerge in our industry almost imperceptibly, and then it will just explode. And I think the door that it will enter through will be in the area of programmatic. And that area of automation of the marketing machine, and effectively it will come in and just take control of lots of the micro decision moments that happen in our business, and then it probably will sort of percolate up through our industry to the point where creative directors will have an outsourced kind of creative department of 300, 500 or 1,000 minds that effectively are artificial intelligence, that are there creating campaigns that allow the creatives to be almost like executive creative directors, sitting there editing and deciding and shaping, as opposed to they themselves generating it. So the transformational effect on our business is really can't be overstated enough.
So I mean, the key message then is that AI is nothing to be feared, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that worry about it.
There is, and there will be certain roles and jobs that will disappear, but there will be far more new roles and jobs created that we find difficult to imagine right now, and partly that will be generated and created by the AIs and the robots, enabling us to do things that we haven't done before.
The kind of content that's being delivered to the industry is completely changed. To consumers from the industry is changing completely as well. We're perhaps only a year or two away from those truly immersive 360 virtual reality environments that brands can really make a true connection with consumers. But what do you think it's going to take to get us there, especially from a consumer perspective? Because those guys don't necessarily have all the hardware yet.
Yes. So right now the hardware is lagging. There's been a huge leap just in the last couple of years because the smartphone technology has been imported into the VR sets, and so now they're cheap. It'll take, I would expect, at least 2 more generations for it to really sink in to become a consumer level device. But even before then, there's still going to be a lot of opportunities, say within the gamers, who are going to embrace this on the first generation. They're going to take it right now. And I think we don't know what works, and so the only thing right now is to try as many different things as early as possible to become literate in this new medium, it will take a couple of years to really understand it. And I think there's just a huge advantage for those people who are willing to invest early, knowing that it's going to take 2 generations before it pays off.
Mark, from your perspective, your clients, are you sensing that spirit of adventure is there, or are clients quite cautious about things like VR at the moment?
Clients are very, very interested in VR and all the new forms of technology. I mean, it's for them, they just see it as an opportunity to get an advantage over their competitors. And we ourselves see it as a new creative canvas, effectively, that you can manipulate to create marketing, effective marketing. We have to be mindful of the fact that you can get distracted and seduced by the allure of these technologies and end up focusing too much time and effort and money in things that actually don't really have any impact on the real world. But I think it's important that we and for all of us in our industry to keep pursuing it, because then, to your point, Kevin, you understand it better when it does actually become something that should be deployed on a grand scale.
Yeah. And do you think in 12 months' time that we will have moved on noticeably in these areas, or do you think it's a sort of gradual process?
Yes, I think it is an evolutionary process. I think the quantum leap in the first generation has happened, which is it's now affordable rather than $1 million. I think there are probably, in the next 12 months, there'll be another little bump, and then 12 months after that, another little bump. But those are evolutionarily expected. I don't think we're going to have something like, I doubt there would be like an iPhone moment in the next 12 months or the next 2 years. I think we're still far from that. But I do think that there's going to be enough going on that this current generation will be obsolete in 12 months.
Okay, it's going to move that quickly then?
I believe so, yes. Just from the stuff I've seen in the prototype stage, it will definitely obsolete very, very quickly.
What particularly excites you? Are there any products or particular types of technology that are coming through that you think are going to make a big difference?
Well, there's 2 different types. There's the VRs, which you immerse yourself in, and then there's the AR, MR that you see. And that, of the 2, the MR is more technically difficult to achieve, but if you can achieve it, you can achieve the other. And so I think some of the most exciting stuff is happening in the mixed reality world, where you have these virtual things in front of you, which can be used in offices for virtual screens. It can be used in training. And so I think it's quite consumer, it's still enterprise level, but I think there'll be huge strides in that in the next year.
And Mark, as a media company, will you be delivering those sorts of solutions then, mixed reality? I mean, is that something that's going to be part of the agency world?
It will become an advertising opportunity, for sure. I mean, whether or not it's a subscription, a paid-for service in which we try to influence it, or whether it works has a free paid-for by ads approach, which obviously has worked very well so far in terms of people getting access to content. If you've got a VR or mixed reality device, you're going to want content specific to you. You're not going to just sit and want to watch National Geographic program. You're going to watch something that relates to you. So who's going to create that content? How can it be funded? Advertising. So there's going to be a tremendous opportunity for marketing, not just in creating the content, but also layering information into other people's content. So, we talk about having a layer of information about, so if you're watching a piece of content, you can click or tap into anything and find out about anything and purchase anything, and of course have social plugins to share. So effectively, content starts to become this incredible shopfront for the world. And the mechanism for how marketers engage, do they bid, what do they do in that environment, is a completely new world that we'll start to have to think and face up to in the next decade.
Well, it'll be fascinating to find out how it all unravels. Thank you so much, both of you, for your time, and good luck with the session in a moment. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.